One Zambia, one nation, and welcome to Zanis News. We look at the top stories in the news. Mamba Collieries to build 300 megawatts power plant. Government reaffirms commitment to improving education sector. Citizens urged to follow public health measures in the wake of influenza. Plus 70,000 children expected to be vaccinated in Chipata district. Well, with the main news in detail, my name is Margaret Kangwa and my sign language interpreter is Imelda Mulea. The Mamba Collieries has announced plans to begin the construction of a 300 megawatts capacity and coal-powered electricity plant at a cost of 400 million United States dollars. And company resident director Ashwin Devinen has explained that the development follows a reached agreement between Mamba Collieries and its anchor lenders. This came to light when Special Assistant to the President for Finance and Investments, Jito Kayumba, called on the mine management in Mamba today. We have got more in this report.
Mamba Collieries Limited, the largest coal mine in Zambia, is set to bring on board an additional 300 megawatts of electricity into the national grid following an intended construction of a 300 megawatts coal-powered power plant in Mamba. This fits in well with the government's vision of actualizing a sustainable energy mix, regardless of climatic conditions. Mamba Collieries Resident Director Ashwin Devnin explains that the development follows an agreement reached between the company and its anchor lenders over the project.
The total project cost is $400 million. So we've not received financial closure as such, but we're almost going to reach it. I think based on our discussions, we hope to reach it by the end of this month or latest by early next month. But we are ready. We are ready. I think once we reach that, the EPC contractor who would actually be constructing the power plant is ready to go. And our aim is to complete the construction and commission the power plant by latest July-August of 26. And that's a very aggressive timeline. Mind you, generally a coal-fired power plant takes about 3 years. We're trying to achieve it in 2 years. We see the need for power right now. I think there are pros to going all renewable, but there are also certain cons when you don't have a certain amount of base load. So
President Hakainde Hichilema, as the Special Assistant for Finance and Investments, Jito Kayumba, says government is elated with the development as it will address the energy deficit the country is experiencing.
The 300 megawatt add-on that Mamba has in place, or that is about to embark on, is extremely important. It will essentially combine their total production to 600 megawatts. Right now, one of the significant contributors to our energy right now is Mamba, because their energy is climate agnostic. The energy allows for essentially consistent supply of firm power, regardless of the weather, the time of day, and that's what's important about having baseload.
The 400 million United States dollars project is expected to be completed in July 2026. Once completed, both the Phase 1 and Phase 2 projects will have an installed power generation capacity of 600 megawatts of power. Mamba Collieries therefore remains a significant player in the country's energy sector, primarily producing thermal coal used for power generation. Kalan Muchima, reporting for Zanis in Mamba.
And now, the local entrepreneurs and innovators have been challenged to exhibit their skills and potential at this year's 96th Agriculture and Commercial Show, scheduled to take place from July 31st to August 5th, 2024 in Lusaka. And BIZ campaign ambassador Ivan Singoma says Zambian entrepreneurs and innovators must take advantage of the Agriculture and Commercial Show, as it is a platform for individuals to synergize efforts, network, collaborate, and form formidable forces to steer the market. Details in this report.
Zambia will this year host the 96th Agriculture and Commercial Show at the Lusaka Showgrounds. Local exhibitors are getting ready for the exhibitions. BYZ campaign ambassador Ivan Singoma, who is also a farmer, has called upon local entrepreneurs and innovators to exhibit their skills and potential at this year's show.
This is a place where various entrepreneurs from all angles of the economy come to meet and then begin to showcase their skills, showcase their potentials. So now, this is also a very sure platform for people to synergize efforts, for people to network, for people to collaborate their individual efforts, coming together and forming up a formidable force that will steer the market like there's no tomorrow. And so we would like to call upon various entrepreneurs, innovators to seize this opportunity, because I think it is only coming once in a year. So those that want to leverage on this, they can make sure that they find space to exhibit their potentials. We would like to call upon all showgoers to come and see what the Zambian entrepreneurs have regarding the agricultural value chains. There are quite a number of products that you will be delighted to know that ordinarily you may have been thinking that they are imported, yet they are locally produced.
Meanwhile, a local exhibitor at this year's show had this to share.
We supply and manufacture PPE equipment, clothing for construction, marine, hospital, defense forces, around our institutions. Let's say Premier Safety is a local manufacturer. We would like to encourage showgoers and local people to visit our stands to support your local companies of a wide range of products.
This year's show will be held under the theme Creating a Competitive Future. Shilika Chabanengula for Zanis in Lusaka.
Well, and now in education news, Lusaka Province Permanent Secretary Robert Kamalata has reiterated government's commitment to improving the education sector in rural areas by building school infrastructure using the Constituents Development Fund. Mr. Kamalata says government wants all learners to receive quality education, including those in rural areas. Details in this report.
We've been here for the past 3 to 4 years. We were teaching from the other tree, the other side.
Where's the tree?
That tree there.
Yes.
That was one of the classroom and the other one the other side.
But this will soon be a thing of the past, as a new 1x3 classroom block is being constructed at a cost of 950,000 kwacha, Constituents Development Fund, CDF. Another 1x3 classroom block has been constructed at Chipindani Primary School, where children were learning under a tree before the classroom was built. Lusaka Permanent Secretary Robert Kamalata has toured the schools and is happy with the way CDF is being utilized.
We have our very hardworking lady here who was managing the entire school alone. She was handling room 1, classroom under that tree, and room 2, that big tree there. She was all by herself. But then when we say that things have changed, this is what we are talking about. So you can see what has changed from this kind of structure to what is being built here. This is CDF funds.
Rufunza Town Council Secretary Bishop Venture Kafula has this to say.
Yes, where we are standing, this is the infrastructure that is being used currently as a classroom block for our pupils. So we have put up a 1x3 and we expect to finish the project within just a few weeks.
Chipindani Primary School Deputy Head Teacher Caroline Sakala and Chizente Primary School Head Teacher Karen Hamwinga are grateful to the government.
And I thank the government for this new building that we have here.
We had challenges because, as you can see, our school is near the road. So I find that concentration wasn't all that fully because of a lot of interruption which were happening. The community is very happy about what the government has done for us.
Thank you to CDF. Beatrice Infula for Zanis News in Rufunsa.
Meanwhile, the National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPES, says Zambians have a lot to celebrate on the strides scored in the education sector as the country turns 60. NUPES President Victor Muyumba cited the massive teacher recruitment, distribution of desks, and the new school curriculum as some of the strides worth celebrating as a country. More details in this report.
As Zambia turned 60 this year, on the 24th of October 2024, Zambia News and Information Services Zanis caught up with stakeholders in the education sector to get their views on the strides that government has made in the quest to improve the quality of education in the country.
There is a lot to celebrate. In Milenge, I am sitting there with our learners, young children, and we look at the teachers. They are from all around the country. You've got, of course, local people there, Ushis, Kabendes, Abenangumbo, Nabalala, they are there. But more than that, it's a clear indication of the unity of our country. You've got Southerners there, Northerners there, Easterners there. It's amazing, the mix. At 60 years of independence, we are one country. We are a united country.
Among the strides that the government has scored in its ambitious drive to enhance education in the country is the massive teacher recruitment exercise, enactment of the free education policy, and the countrywide distribution of desks.
Most of the rural areas that were hard hit in terms of shortage of teachers, we now have teachers in those areas. And I think we cannot talk about the rural areas having schools without talking about the 30,000 teachers that government not long ago deployed, because that one went a long way in trying to ameliorate the challenges that the learners used to have in the rural areas. We also do understand that in most cases children would sit on the floor owing to lack of desks. But due to the increased and enhanced constituency development fund, we now have seen that these schools have been given the desks that they have always needed. So the children are learning comfortably.
Another milestone in the education sector that is on the horizon is the expected launch of the new school curriculum.
We now are talking about a very progressive curriculum framework that has been brought to the fore, yet to be implemented. And to us, we say progressive because it answers the many questions that we have asked as a union. Why should our education system simply be about who discovered the sea route to India, who met who at Ujiji, who said these words, at the expense of acquiring skill and knowledge, which would help the country develop.
As the country commemorates 60 years of independence, it is worth celebrating the strides that the country has made in enhancing education in the country. For Zanis, I'm Lakson Makodza.
Government has expressed disappointment with some fish traders who are exchanging sex with fish in fishing camps along water bodies in Western Province. And Provincial Permanent Secretary Simomo Akapelwa said this when he delivered a keynote speech at a joint consultative meeting on gender mainstreaming by the Gender Division and the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock, sponsored by the Action Aid Zambia and the Center for Disease Control. Let us take a look at this.
These are various stakeholders brought together to the consultative meeting to review the Fisheries Act number 2 of 2011 and mainstreaming gender issues on gender-based violence in Western Province. Delivering a keynote speech, Western Province Permanent Secretary Simomo Akapelwa said government is saddened with GBV cases through sex for fish caused by the economic hardships in the region.
As we look at mainstreaming gender into the various aspects of our work. Talking about gender-based violence, the smaller part of the population somehow seems to be stronger than the bigger part of the population. There is violence, and you are aware the people who do the fishing are usually the men, but the people who are the fishmongers, the ones who sell mostly, are the ladies. Because of pressure, you have heard about sex for fish. It's one of the causes of gender violence or abuse of women.
Samantha Munangandu is the Action Aid Zambia coordinator.
So we have what is called sex for fish, and this is something that we all know here as stakeholders. At least if you stay in Western Province, you didn't know about it. This is something that is common wherever there are fishing camps. And so it was also discovered through some research that was done by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, as well as other implementing partners, that gender-based violence has been used to determine who can access. The fisherman who has to decide how much fish I can sell, when I can sell, and to who I have to sell this fish to.
Both Principal Gender Officer Bruce Hamosokwe and Provincial Coordinator for Fisheries and Livestock, Dr. Kelvin Kampamba, had this to say.
This meeting, the objectives is to make sure that, one, we introduce the mechanism for corroboration amongst the stakeholders and players. Two, we want to bring about standardization of reporting. Okay? We want to make sure that we are reporting, because we're reporting on the same indicators with all stakeholders, it's GBV mostly. So, because we're reporting on the same indicators, we want to make sure that we've got a standard way of doing things. We don't want people to be reporting silos. We don't want to have a lot of discrepancies in terms of figures and reports.
Today marks an epic moment where we're meeting stakeholders to review the Fisheries Act. So, as we are all aware, the Fisheries Act has an overarching impact on the way we manage our fisheries. Western Province, in particular, has the largest catchment, the Zambezi catchment, which encompasses the upper Zambezi fisheries. It is also the home of 120 species. You also realize that fisheries contributes about 0.4% to the total agriculture production in Zambia.
Darlington Kawambe reporting in Mongo District, Western Province.
Well, let us take our first break. Stay tuned for more news.
How I Made It is a program that delves into the many success stories of different people from all walks of life. Watch How I Made It on Zanis TV every Thursday at 18:30 hours on the Topstar channel, channel 6 DTT, and channel 458 DTH.
We continue with the news, and this time around in health news, the Zambia Medical Association has called on the media to help in raising awareness about the influenza outbreak. ZMA Secretary General Oliver Kauma has also called on the members of the public to adhere to the public health measures in the wake of influenza cases announced by the Ministry of Health. Dr. Kauma says adhering to public health guidelines is important in the prevention of the influenza in the country. Muna Chibende has more in this report.
Following an increase in respiratory infections such as the influenza in the country, as announced by the Minister of Health, Sylvia Masebo, the Zambia Medical Association has called on the general public not to panic but adhere to the public health guidelines as advised by the Ministry of Health.
Recent outbreak of the flu, which is largely being driven by the influenza virus. As an association, for us, our main role is that we interact with patients in the health facilities, and our primary point of contact being the provision of care. We have informed our members and reinforced the message to be on high alert for any patients that are presenting with flu, and ensuring that they are subjected to the necessary testing to ensure that we rule out other causes of flu-like symptoms, which in this case would be COVID-19. Additionally, I would just like to state that the public does not need to panic, as it is known that flu or influenza is an annual outbreak. Though it's important that for the sake of prevention, we adhere to the laid out guidelines of prevention, which I think we'll discuss with them. Most important thing that we want to communicate to the public is that COVID, for instance, COVID-19 and influenza, they have similar modes of spread. They have similar pathophysiological pathways, or the way they manifest. However, both can be fatal and both can be contracted through interactions.
Dr. Kaoma has further called on the media to help raise awareness about the influenza outbreak in the country.
Appeal really to media houses such as yourselves and other media houses. They are key stakeholders in sensitizing the public. So we call upon them to work with us and give us enough airtime so that we are able to communicate to the general public. Remember, where there's lack of information, people tend to speculate, and we are in an information era. So whoever generates, we saw a number of messages circulating on WhatsApp, no, this is COVID, this is what. And that usually arises because there isn't adequate sensitization. And as an association, we are keen on sensitizing the public.
A check conducted by Zanis revealed that some members of the general public are willing and ready to adhere to the public health guidelines as advised by the Ministry of Health.
Kuishusha kofye my fellow residents of Mkalingalinga, or moreover, that was Zambia about COVID. COVID na iwela futi. It's a deadly disease and it's airborne disease. So nga abantu abamzambia, abantu abamkalingalinga, wherever you are, tulefa yokumyewa kwa pamulandua COVID kweba tumteke ama precautions ayo batu pamulandua COVID. Tule keeping a social distance. Twafwala kona ma face mask. No kulafuika abana ifya kufwala ifya bawom, kubapela ifya kulya ifya bawom. No kubapela ifya kulya ifya talala. All the time tule cover ifya kulya ifyesu. No keeping a surroundings yesu very clean.
Vera du COVID ya bwe. Tizafa kapo kabake tapa zambo vala ma face mask. Kudala COVID bana school senzo enda. Kunzeribe kuenda shiende batapa manja patizamo zisamalira hapo. Tizamo vala ma face mask kabake tapa tizafa kapo hapa. Tizamo konka vile zambo kama waku ma clinic tizamo konka.
Munachoende for Zanis in Lusaka.
And the Chipata District Health Office in Eastern Province has revealed that about 70,000 children below the age of 5 are expected to be vaccinated during the launched Child Health Week. Chipata District Health Director Lawrence Piri has since urged parents in the district to present their children for vaccination in order to prevent them from contracting diseases. More in this report.
The Chipata District Health Office has launched the Child Health Week and is expecting to vaccinate about 70,000 children below 5 years of age. District Health Director Lawrence Piri has appealed to members of the public to ensure that all their children below the stipulated age group are presented for the vaccination exercise in the district.
Holding our Child Health Week this week, and our targets for the under 5 population for Chipata is 69,926. That represents the under 5 population for a population of 345,000 that we have as Chipata. We urge you to bring your children so that they can receive all those missed vaccinations. We can actually monitor how they are doing with their growth. You're looking at the growth monitoring, where we monitor the weight, we monitor the height, we want to make sure they're not stunted. We monitor their nutrition status so that if there's any malnutrition that's coming in, measures are put in place timely to prevent loss of life.
And Chipata City Mayor George Mwanza has commended the Ministry of Health and its partners for this initiative.
In Chipata, we are calling on parents to comply with health officials. It is we, their leaders, that have sent them, and that this is an important exercise for the holistic growth of our children, who are the future of this country. Without children, without health and protected children, we cannot talk about the future, because that future is not guaranteed. So the only way to guarantee the future of our city and of our country is just by ensuring that we holistically participate in these free services that have come at a very huge cost on the part of the government.
Sylvester Shimba for Zanis, in Chipata District, Eastern Province.
Now we get to agriculture news. Winter cultivation in wetlands has begun in Kankoyo constituents of Mufulira district. The initiative is being spearheaded by Area Member of Parliament Hudson Mabeta, who says the program is a strategic move to boost food security. Here is a report.
Has commenced winter cultivation in wetlands to improve food security and help households earn income through year-round farming. Kankoyo Member of Parliament Hudson Mabeta, who officiated the launch of the wetlands cultivation, urged farmers to utilize the CDF tractor available for free to prepare for planting crops such as rice and vegetables. Mr. Mabeta also offered his farm for use by farmers who do not own land in wetlands.
Sabatirafua sana tuvombere kuringanya na vision yabakainda ichiremo. Kupuisha nsara muzambia komawa tuangushe nshi uri nyaini. Sanga turefua tambo kumana tinatukwatamo busombosho busima ngubu noshi mu bulimi. Koma turelima imyanshi shonse kai season nili onsari kwatafo mwingani mama. Gafina twarandire uno mwaka kulira 2 million batupera kira mwaka ya kupera ma grant 1 million yenu mwe balimi.
Mufulira District Agricultural Coordinator Rusito Vuzai expressed hope that the shift towards mechanized farming would combat reduced yields experienced in the district in past years.
In 2022, we had about 3 tons per hectare for maize. 2023, it dropped to 2.1, and currently it's about 1.2. That is just 20 bags per hectare, which is very low. But if we use tractors, we are hoping that we should be able to go even to 5 tons per hectare for small-scale farmers on average.
Grateful farmers also had an appeal to make.
If not in Chautira, if you want a tractor, my trandra president, I tundra kuno mufundo pando amakopaiti vali rundako. Pakwati abantu bintu balelima tabalekwata wali yakwati twala byala shali mufundo.
If embraced, mechanized farming has the potential to increase yields and ensure sufficient food for citizens and export. Rachel Chisulo, reporting for Zanis in Mufulira.
Meanwhile, in Eastern Province, Chadiza District Commissioner Malan Zimba has advised farmers to invest in wetland farming following pronouncements by government to help farmers with emergency funds. Details are in this report.
Chadiza District Administration has handed over 2 community projects worth over 100,000 kwacha. The projects comes as a result of recovered funds from the sale of maize under the Food Security Pack through Ministry of Community Development.
Community shelter, kapena community hall, yatenga ndalama zolingana na 68,000. Izatupasa ka ofesi kuliso nyumba si chichoka chomwe tulupasa sikula lero komaso kuliso ka shop kamene tikuti agri shop akaka agri shop kapena ndalama zomwe tinasevenzesa zilingana 52,000 kuti mangiwe.
On emergency wetland, government wants more farmers to benefit.
Mongana kamba za emergency cash transfer, social cash transfer. Komanso monga chigao cha community development, kuliso emergency wetlands, ulimi wa madimba. Wamena president batu anapasa chigao chatu kuti tione kuti vantu amene ali na mpata wa madzi alime madimba asayembekezere ulimi wa kumunda chabe komanso ulimi wa madimba.
Farmers are thankful.
Tululankula ichi chifuka mwina sinaluzindikira kuti ulimu amene timapasidi wa nkongole ya fertilizer wa gampani timaona monga ndrama amene tibweza ndi aboma sitimazindikira kuti ndrama iyi ni aifenso kuno kwathu ku community koma pasiku la lero takhala nawo umboni wooneka ni maso chifuka ichi chipupa chamene tiulankhuliramo chabwereranso kwa ife amene tinachoseza ndrama tinaona monga tapereka kuboma kasiboma inati kuganizira zomwe zatichitira zazikulu
nafuna kutokoza zinshito zimene wa community development walushita kuno kuna viruli kupyolera mu zobweza zimene timabweza ku gampani yawa bantu shoambirira bwana DC wanatigulira benz shera ko tongola ya chimanga amene tinapempha pali pano kautithandiza ngati funa tongola chimanga komanso siya popoka tilinso na irrigation scheme yamene so anatipasa kutolera mu office ya wadako ili kwa kamanga komanso na shop yamene watipasa yogulisiramo mankhwala na zinanzina za ulimi imene so iliso kwa kamanga ndiye panonso watipasa community hall yakuti tizichitiramo zosiyana ndiye mwaishi mtokoza.
Juba Zulu, Zanis, Chadiza District, Eastern Province.
Now, the Food Reserve Agency FRA has procured over 82,000 by 50 kilogram bags of maize in Lunte District. And Lunte District Commissioner Joseph Chilando says the crop marketing season is progressing well in the district. We have more in this report.
The 2024 crop marketing season is progressing in Lunte District, Northern Province. The Food Reserve Agency, FRA, has so far purchased over 82,000 by 50 kg bags of maize across the 20 satellites in the district. However, Lunte District Commissioner Joseph Chilando is concerned with the increased number of briefcase buyers that have invaded the area.
A word of caution to the farmers is that they should not sell their maize to private buyers who are taking our maize outside the country. But if they sell to Food Reserve Agency, which is a government entity, we are going to save this maize so that in the eventualities of drought like the one which we had, when we have hunger, we are going to offload to the people.
Brian Msonda, one of the farmers who has sold his maize to a briefcase buyer, revealed his reason for doing so.
So nomba na ifatule chumona twati since stage twikaleta palimpi amawanda tulesenda twatwala kulibala cause bena bali wangu nga twatwala fast bashita batupere mpya twabufya kufilifa kukubonfyo baleka tusefa tatushapo pasefa tutwala kufia fini bashita wangu nomba nga twakwiba kuteko kulaba twasefa twala limbi 2 days palapene.
Meanwhile, farmers found at one of the FRA satellites have thanked government for increasing the number of workers at the depot. Reporting for Zanis, Sylvia Zulu in Lunte District.
And now the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, has distributed relief maize to over 2,000 households in Wansabombo District. And District Commissioner Rosemary Muiche, who is also District Disaster Management Committee chairperson, has since cautioned the beneficiaries against selling the commodity. Here is a report.
The distribution of relief maize to disaster victims, the aged, chronically ill, the disabled, and those who participated in various community works in Wansabombo District has come to an end. The exercise saw over 2,400 households in the district benefiting from the relief maize. District Commissioner Rosemary Mweche accompanied the District Disaster Management Committee, DDMC members, as they conducted the distribution exercise.
We have distributed 1,740 for food for week, while 740 was for disabled and the elderly. We have concluded our program today. It has been concluded We have finished. Everyone have benefited, whoever was registered to be a beneficiary on this program. We just appeal that the government should think about Mwansabombo once again, so that at least the remaining good number of elderly and disabled people can also benefit.
The beneficiaries are thankful to government.
Abantu abengi bali abafunirwa n'ensala sana nomba obuteeko bwatwafiirisha tuleeta shabaye ekyo kuti fyonse efibabomba uyu mutima bekafunyapo
pai kuletotera ku muteeko baletwafwa kashibakuleka ebutundu sitwalefwaya kuli baye chechi.
Lewis Changwe, Zanis, Mwansabombwe, Luapula Province.
Now, Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Paul Tole has challenged the Ministry of Health and local authorities to adequately prepare for responses to the effect of climate change as they plan for the 2025 budget and beyond. Mr. Tole was speaking in Chipata during the launch of the Mid-Term Expenditure Framework for 2025 to 2027 for the Ministry of Health and local authorities. This follows the devolution of health function to councils. Here is a report.
They are meeting in Chipata to find solutions to health challenges brought about by climate change, and many of them want to be part of the change that is needed to adapt to the new climatic conditions. These are officials from the local authorities and the Ministry of Health in Eastern Province. Provincial Health Director Dr. Matthew Zingambi has outlined the meeting objectives.
I'd like to thank everybody here at PS in your presence for a very successful implementation of 2024 MTEF thus far. I think that we started last year PS in this devolved arrangement to bring everybody in one space so that we are planning together with the local authorities. And we're planning together to succeed. And so far, I think that most of the indications are we are on track to meet most of our objectives.
However, the Provincial Health Office wants the local authorities to strengthen their leadership role in championing primary health activities, following the devolution of health functions to local authorities.
So basically, to just lobby through UPS that, the local authorities do take up stronger leadership in providing all these devolved activities.
And Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Paul Tole wants the participants to this meeting to adequately plan for responses to climate change in the 2025 budget and beyond.
During the 2025 budget calendar, we should prioritize investments in building climate resilient health infrastructure. This should include alternative greener power solutions and improving water and sanitation supply systems to ensure a reliable source of clean water for hygiene practices.
The local authorities have pledged to respond to threats of climate change on public health through the use of CDF.
CDF has come, and it is a tool which will help us to achieve devolution. Devolution is like we've weaponized our strategies towards meeting the challenges that are facing our people. Doing so, we hope to react timely as local authorities with a devolved function under health to solve the problems of our people in terms of health.
Lubas Mtafelan, Zanis, Chipata District, Eastern Province.
And our traditional leaders from Copperbelt and Luapula provinces have convened at Sali Lodge in Mansa District to exchange ideas. Among the issues being discussed include unity, climate change, and agriculture productivity. More in the following report.
Traditional leaders from Copperbelt are in Mansa Luapula province on a reciprocal visit that is aimed at promoting unity as well as to discuss issues of climate change and agriculture productivity. The chiefs have since held talks with their counterparts from Luapula province.
Exchange ideas. Exchange ideas in Luapula. Tamoni kwa masa accession angles. in Copper Belt there is succession levels. Ngawa bia subaru wakula, vanatashani manage without language. Nokulu wakula, vanalima tute laisi sogamu na fimi. Na fuwa Copper Belt tunalima, ngabe na vanatashani achieve. Tuchite exchange ama ideas ya kuona kwa tulendera pamwe. Umuntu ukwikala kuno muchano alingiro kwenda na ifintu vitatu. Ifi vitatu ni tradition, Christianity na modernity. Modernity emuli ababaneso abakomesi. Christianity emuli ba Samaritan strategy. Traditional M34 for Mfumu. So mwati mwone nishtuwa united.
And traditional leaders in Luapula province have called for unity and preservation of traditional land.
If you play pitamo, problem nature ya climate change, the law, before we were to play with abantu besu, you could take away film, more especially kuba desu abalambo kwekwa frasa na malashi. Sawa mishabaya kwira kwa abantu watifu mushakuru kutwa ile. Tuwalia sange fimu tifisu manamisha watuwena tabatema ura sana amalasha.
Shindike ni basha mfumwe baribu panpin tungushile session ele pakwama. Mwile kumana chapa tute mwane bale bonse. So what we are doing here mwewa na wakwalesa, we are promoting unity in diversity.
Betre Bakatebe reporting for Zanis News in Mansa District in Luapula Province.
And finally, in the news, the Mines Contractors Factory and Allied Workers Union has appealed to government to prevent the loss of jobs by manganese miners in Central Province. And speaking at a press briefing in Dola, Union President Nkwentoka Sonka has confirmed that more than 2,000 employees are in fear of losing their jobs in the manganese factories in Kapilimponshi, Serenje and Kawe districts after ZESCO completely shut down power supply to the 15 factories in the province.
There is a pending loss of jobs. To be specific, the confirmed number of the people who are going to be sent on redundancy is 2,338. This includes Kapilimposhi, Serenje, and Kawe districts. 26th of June 2024, we brought this issue in public domain, and to that effect, the government spokesperson, who is the Honorable Bonayasi, responded to the press query and indicated that no one is going to lose employment. ZESCO decided to shut down or to cut power supply to more than 15 factories, manganese factories. As a result of that, factory owners have decided to inform the union and government respectively that the redundancy process has to take place.
The country will lose much needed forex, and the country will lose needed taxes that comes from these plants to the government and also provides employment. It is the fact that what is going to happen now, there will be rampant export, illegal export of manganese out of the country if ZESCO does not rescind its decision. And right now as we speak, as who've been there, we've seen how people from all over the world are in our country. The concentrate and manganese ore are at risk to be ferried out of this country at a time when the president had gone to America and reached a deal to begin a lithium plant in Ndola, and also to China to begin again another lithium plant in Central Province.
Well, that item brings us to the end of the news. And before I finish, we look at the headlines once again. Mamba Collieries to build 300 megawatts power plant. Government reaffirms commitment to improving education sector. Citizens urged to follow public health measures in the wake of influenza. Plus 70,000 children expected to be vaccinated in Chipata district. Well, that was all we had for you, and on behalf of the entire production crew here at Zanis, thank you so much for being with us. It has been Margaret Kangwa, and my sign language interpreter has been Imelda Mulea. Stay tuned.